Glad you're with us for The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm Chris Stewart with Trent Richardson, A.J. McCarron, and our producer, Steve Gorgei, joining you in just a bit. Don't forget, new episodes of our show drop each week on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. Wherever you happen to check us out, please rate, review, and share across social media at The Dynasty Bama. Today, of course, we're going to react to Bama's road win over Mizzou. The Tide moves to 5-1 on the year and moves into the top 6 in the national polls. We're going to talk the good, the bad, the ugly in the win, something Coach Saban used to do with these guys on a Sunday or a Monday, I guess it was, reviewing the previous ball game. But we're also going to look ahead. It is indeed, or we're staring ahead at the third Saturday in October, which gets blood boiling and hearts racing in both Alabama and on Rocky Top. Trent, big win for the Tide, to say the least. A dangerous, dangerous game. What was the difference in this one for you? Was it Bama's ability to sustain drives on offense, get off the field on defense, Ty's ability to avoid costly mistakes other than the one to start the third quarter as opposed to his counterpart for the Tigers? What was the difference for you on Saturday?
For me, man, to be able to sustain them long drives, be able to control the offensive line, being able to control that line of scrimmage, man, and we root about that on this show almost every time. Like, if you can't win that line of scrimmage, you can't win a turnover battle, you're going to lose. It is a recipe to lose if you cannot control those few things. And, penalties too, man. So, for me, this win here was big when it came to turnovers in the right possession. And we killed them early on in third down. They wasn't so good in third down early on, and we had 2 big fourth down plays. That was huge. And Daniel Hill, man, he stepped up, big time, and to say that about that kid, I know we're going to get more into him. And I'm going to
Let's do it now. Let's go ahead now.
Well, to say that about that kid, man, like, it's, to me, right, and I've been around the program, and when I was playing, man, it was more of the next man up, right?
Right.
Me and Mark, me and Eddie, me and Upchurch, me and Terry Grant, whoever it was back there when we was in that room, like, we was prepared for anything. And so when you got guys that can play anywhere in the world and be the number one guy, and when his number is called, and this is coming from a kid who haven't played at all for real this year, maybe
hadn't played in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and the kid stepped up big, man. So kudos to that kid, man. I'm happy for him. He's a big kid, man. I think
250.
I wish that kid, would get, some mandatory carries, to beat up that defense, to prove his stripes. But for me, man, I'm proud of him. He stepped up big. He made some big plays when we needed him. And offensive line, man, they was choking guys out.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. To me, it's important. Some may say it's not, but I was at practice last Tuesday of game week. They hadn't carried the ball. They hadn't gotten a snap, I don't think, in the 2 previous games. May be wrong on that, but I know they hadn't factored in. But I see Daniel Hill and Richard Young running drills, and they are going at it like they're the starters.
Yeah.
I mean, they were getting after it. I don't know if it's the whole week. I don't know if it's every drill because I'm not there for the whole practice. But I'll tell you, the time that I was watching them, they were getting after it. There was no let up. They had the understanding that the next play could be there for them, as was the case for Daniel when Jam Miller got knocked out cold, and we'll get into that in just a bit. But to see those guys, you can't just decide you're going to turn it on Saturday. You got to do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in order to have a chance to do that on Saturday. And clearly he did, because that catch, he had 6 carries, I think 16 yards. But that catch wasn't easy at all. Backpedaling, you're 250 pounds, you're backpedaling. There's nobody there. You got to catch it. get your feet tangled up, all the bad stuff that could have happened, and he didn't. He made the catch, got the touchdown, and that was the ball game.
Yeah, it was kind of, to me, it kind of reminded me of the World Church play. Playing Auburn down in
Yeah,
Auburn,
great point.
and they call it the drive, right?
Mhm.
And I think it was like me and Julio going back and forth getting the ball.
Yeah.
Um,
2 good
co-
options, by the
yeah,
way. Those are good to have.
and they was going to hand me the ball again. I'm like, I can't run, and we pulled it and threw it to Upchurch, and he sealed the game for us. And what Daniel Hill did, man, was big. I've been in that situation and have dropped the pass trying to celebrate, like getting
Mm,
too early into it
mm,
against Auburn, the Cam Newton game they call it.
yeah.
But man, listen, that kid was prepared, he was ready, and listen, that goes back to that room. To me, every week we have seen this room dominate, and it's really never, to me, it's never on the. I ain't gonna say it's never on the running backs. It's always on the running backs, but we are the adjusters to make the offensive line look good, make the quarterback right, make the offensive line right. And their job is to make us look good and make us right too, right? But at the same time, it's some stuff that we do behind the scene that people don't see. So, man, running back, keep doing your thing. Hey, coach in that room, man, coach, keep coaching them up. Coach, I love you, man. Appreciate you what you're doing with them boys.
To that point, he made the comment to me, or to the media. I'm sorry, this was not one of our TV or radio interviews, but I am going to talk to him more about it on his radio show this week. You got 3rd and 25, I think, somewhere in that range, 3rd and 20 plus, and the completion, I believe, to Kevin Riley.
Yes, sir.
He said they messed it up. He said, guys messed me up. They got too much of it back. He grinned as he said it. He said they got too much of it back and then put me in a spot where I had to think about it and actually go for it. But 4th and 8, and you're up 3, and it was not field goal range, for anybody. That's not a Connor Talty statement. That's just legit. You're not going to kick the field goal right there. But a lot of teams would have punted, backed them up 20 yards or more. Instead, he chooses to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking 4th and 5. We're not talking 4th and 2. We're talking 4th and 8, and they throw a 29-yard dime. And the catch in traffic, I mean, Oddsir Brooks had a defender all over.
Yeah, he did.
And the throw, he threw it in the only spot he could. And
Perfect throw.
Lotzier's making catches and plays like a fifth-year senior instead of a first-year freshman. Special stuff they got going right now.
Man, listen, the way Brooks out there playing, like, in that tight possession, in that tight coverage, and, beating them by that step,
Mm-hmm.
and Ty putting that ball, like, I keep telling folks, man, and I know me and AJ been on this for the longest. I know me, and I know it's early, y'all, and it's hard to say, but to me, man, hands down, he's top. Ty Simpson right now is top 3 in the nation in college football. Like,
No doubt. You gonna trade
nobody's
for him?
doing, nobody's doing what this cat is doing. Like, and you take this cat off that team. I'm not saying that Alabama won't be the same, but this cat will be very missed, right?
Yeah.
This cat makes a big difference because the decisions that he's making and the balls that he's throwing on a dime, running, being able to use his legs, like, it's been amazing, right? And for him to have that poise, both of them guys, Brooks and Ty, to have that poise on that play, and he knew exactly where he wanted the ball. He
Right.
knew exactly where he wanted to throw it. And so you can tell that this play here has been one of those plays that they go over 24/7 till they can't get it wrong.
Trent, we got 4 or 5 guys who are on campus at the University of Alabama that are starting at other high major programs, including Julian Sayin at the team that's number 1 in the country right now.
Yeah.
And you don't hear anybody say, boy, I wish we still had that guy. And that's not a shot at any of them. It's just simply the point of how well Ty is playing, that the guy that couldn't get on the field until this year is, I say couldn't get on the field, you know what I mean. The guy that wasn't even considered for a starting role until now is the guy and may be the playing at the highest level of anybody in the country. We know how quick things can change, and I know AJ is going to talk about more in the next segment, but you can't ask for a whole lot more than what this guy's giving your team right now. Stability, protecting the football. Saturday, that fumble, first of the year, and ain't many guys would have held on to it after you've run into the back of Geno Vandermark, you've bounced off of Kadyn Proctor, and then Missouri got it shot on you. It's tough to hang on to that football, but those are the only giveaways. Just hanging on to the ball is important, let alone the plays that he's making from a positive standpoint. But he's got a ton of help that's making that happen. What went through your mind? Let me tell you, I've said this before. I have come close many times doing a ball game. When something happens, I might have come close to saying something on air that might bring into question my Christian faith. But I don't know that I've ever come closer than I did when I saw, I hate calling it the Wildcat. It's more like a big-ass bobcat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
With Kadyn back there. I came so close. I don't know what was going to come out of my mouth, but I know it wasn't going to be FCC approved. And another great play. If they don't submarine on the edge right there, he walks into the end zone.
Well, and that's the difference from a running back and, a guy getting the ball and being able to just outwork everybody, be out strong in everybody, right? Because a running back would have know, like, you ain't really got to jump in that situation. If you do jump, dive in the end zone.
I've seen it.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that person was trying to hit you, it would have been like, child, please, like, to my legs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Just to have that confidence and, hey, we could just walk in the end zone if we really want to.
Right.
But, that says a lot about Coach DeBoer, like Coach Grubb. Like, they letting folks know, like, we're going to do what we want to do.
4 straight
you can't
games.
do nothing to stop it. And it's been every game since the Florida State game. Yeah, and it's something, and it's letting you know, like, this is my offense, and I'm letting you know, Kadyn Proctor is getting the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And what you going to do to stop him.
Right.
And they have.
No. And how about look, we ain't even talked about this, or I ain't talked much about it at all anywhere. It's not just that he got it there.
Mm-hmm.
But the creativity in the alignment, and we're not going to snap it between the legs and make it awkward. It's Parker Brailsford going, I'm throwing it to you, which is how he snapped it. And by the way, there's no doubt it's going to the left side.
Yeah.
Because we got everything, including the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
And they get the flip to him. And again, it would have been, it'd been fun to see him score. The guy deserves a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But also on top of it, that was a play that Bama needed the touchdown at that time and unfortunately didn't get it. And, almost said AJ, but Ty trips going back on the handoff on the next play, and then you can't get it into the end zone. Still got points, but, yeah, the work they're making opposing defenses do in practice to take away from the base stuff, tough prep. That's a tough prep.
Listen, I know scout team got to be on point, right?
Yeah.
And when they go good on good, it's a challenge for the defense, especially if you run our plays, right?
Yeah.
Because, at that time, you do a little good on good. You got some competitiveness going, with the coordinators, not just the offense and defense, the players.
Right.
But, to see that, man, like, them folks let you know every week that we're going to impose our will on y'all, no matter what. Our offense going to make our identity. And we know when big fella going out wide in the backfield, anywhere near the backfield, anywhere to be a skill or mid-skill position player, he's getting the ball. And who's going to stop it?
By the way, first team that stopped Ahmad Hardy all year, Bama. 12 carries, 52 yards. Jam had 20 for 85 before he had to leave the game because he got knocked out cold. Have you ever seen a game like that where we had two guys knocked out cold before they hit the ground? Derek Meadows, I was scared to death the guy was not going to get up.
Yeah,
That
it's a
looked
scary sight.
bad when
Yeah.
Derek got hit. And then Jam, the same thing. He was out before he hit the ground and then hits the ground face first. As you and I are visiting now, I hear they're both far better than it looked like they would be. Have no idea as to their status for this weekend. I would doubt that that's something they're even, I say worried about. You know what I mean? They're,
Mhm.
it's a day-by-day deal right now for both of them. Gotta have Jam. You're better equipped to handle the game without Jam than you were, but there is zero doubt this team's better with Jam. Miller. Need him to be available if at all possible. That being said, Kevin Riley and then Daniel Hill, the combo they provided in that game obviously was very, very huge. But talk from an offensive standpoint of what Jam gave you, and then also where do you go if he's not able to play?
Um, for me, man, prayers up to those guys who got hurt, man, because we definitely praying for y'all. And listen, none of that for me is I can't take any positive from that, because I'm big on the concussions. I'm big on livelihood. I'm big
Yeah,
on
you
life
know.
after football and
Mm-hmm.
life with football too, right? Because if you don't have life, you ain't got no football at all.
Right.
And so I tell kids, and especially my kids, all the time, like, man, if you're not healthy, there's no reason being out there.
Yeah.
Because I need you here, no
Yeah.
matter what. And I tell that to my players, like, listen, I would rather for you to go out there and give you your all when you can, other than put some bad film out there because you're injured, you're hurt, you can't go.
Mm-hmm.
You got concussion protocol. I mean, especially, those are some guys that's going to make a difference in the game. And so it's hard when someone go down, but especially a guy like Jam Miller, man, like. Bama has been on a pace of, establishing that balanced offense identity and letting you know that, hey, no matter what, we still got a running back here that can rush for 100 and some yards if we need to. We actually got 2 or 3 on back here. But this guy, Jam Miller, has been, making a difference, and y'all know that he's getting the ball no matter
Right.
what because he is the first guy, right? And that makes the difference from being a guy and the second guy. And everything he's doing, as far as like in the passing game, like the protection, Ty looked so comfortable back there. He know when it gets a little leak outs. And Kevin know the same thing too, man. Because I seen a
Mm-hmm.
play last week that he tried to pull off, and the linebacker kind of hit it, but it was one of them plays that I love. You can just look at your quarterback and know when he's in trouble, and he can kind of flip you the ball and get you in space and get on one-on-one with somebody. Man, I love them type of plays. But for me, man, I think what Daniel Hill and Kevin do it, man. They bodied this thing the right way. They went in and took care of business for the OG and listen, Jam. We know he's gonna be better. We know he's gonna be good. But at the same time, man, listen, I'm praying for those guys, and I'm excited about this room. Like I don't feel like it's a drop off when Jam lead the game, but I do feel like for them leadership and the
Yeah.
knowledge of the game is different when he's in the game.
No question. All right. When we come back, we're going to hear from AJ McCarron joining our producer for the Dynasty, Steve Gorgei. Scheduling conflicts made it tough for us to all be in the same room at the same time, so to speak, even virtually. But we're going to hear thoughts from AJ and Steve on the win over Mizzou, but also AJ's thoughts about the matchup between the Tide and the Tennessee Volunteers. When Trent and I come back in the last segment, we're going to discuss that, of course, but also one last look back at something that the guys used to do when they played for the GOAT. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll get that from Trent, in addition to looking ahead to the Vols. We call it The Dynasty. It's a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Breakfast might be the most important choice you make all day. That's because with Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast, you can mix and match your very own perfect pairing of our delicious morning favorites.
With this breakfast deal, the choice is all yours, not someone else's. And isn't that how it should be? It's your breakfast, after all, not Martha's. She can pick her own breakfast. This one's all for you, no matter what you choose, from our sausage biscuit with that grilled breakfast sausage, or the egg and cheese biscuit with fresh cracked grade A egg and melty American cheese on a fluffy buttermilk biscuit, a small size of perfectly seasoned potatoes, or a medium hot coffee to power through the morning. All you got to do is pick your ideal morning pair.
You really can't lose because you're the one calling the shots. The choice is all yours.
Wake up to Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast just the way you want it. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. No substitutions, not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price. Welcome back to The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Do want to remind you the dynastybama.com is the hub where you can go from there and then link on to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And please rate, review, and share at The Dynasty Bama. Sometimes, the schedule forces you to mix it up a little bit. This is one of those weeks. So myself and Trent and AJ not able to be in the same studio. Thankfully, we got the best producer anywhere who can jump in with us and help us vary from the script just a little bit. Audible is probably better when you're talking about AJ. But AJ McCarron and Steve Gorgei able to discuss things Bama, Mizzou, but also Bama, Tennessee.
Thank you, Chris. That's right. I'm Steve Gorgei, the producer of this show. But for today, or at least for this segment anyway, I'm playing a little substitute teacher here. I'm joined by a man that needs no introduction. He's the multi-time national champion. He's our quarterback. He's AJ McCarron. AJ, I hope you're well. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope your weekend was just as good as Kalen DeBoer's was, as the Tide go on the road, get a big road victory in Columbia, Missouri, 27-24. And I want to start right there. I'll start broadly. What was your main takeaway from the win?
Yeah, I thought first half was awesome. I thought the defense was playing well. The first drive, other than the first drive, I think 6 plays, giving up a touchdown. But I thought the offense responded. You got a personal foul, taunting, that extended that first drive, and you go down and get points, and you kept that momentum. We were running the ball well for the most part. Play action was doing well, still hitting some hole shots. I think that's one of Ty's best throws that he has. The biggest thing for me, there's a couple concerns that I still have. Second half, offensive struggles again. And it's kind of, out of the Georgia week, second half, you had some offensive struggles. So I don't know if it's teams are making adjustments at halftime and kind of keying in on what we like to do and concepts we're running and everything. But that's 2 weeks in a row where the offense has struggled in the second half. Jam, I think, getting knocked out on the sideline, and especially when he was gone, it changed the whole offense, not only from a rushing standpoint and ability to run the football effectively, but pass protection. I mean, it's big when he's not in there. You can see a difference from a pass pro standpoint. The other concerning thing is I really don't understand what we're doing on the right side of the offensive line. We had Formby at right guard. You had Carroll, the freshman, at right tackle. It was working in the first half. I don't know if there was an injury or we just yanked Carroll or what, but we put Formby back in at right tackle. And that it's just not the recipe for success, I think, for this offense. I mean, Forman's a big dude. Leave him in the interior. He struggles to move and not play high up on his toes and lean forward when he plays the right tackle spot, and he's just getting beat too much. Um, so listen, it's still a big win. You still come out of Mizzou with the big win, and you're keeping the momentum. But the more you push your luck with these slow starts in the second half, and from an offensive standpoint, not putting up points, you're eventually going to find yourself in some trouble late in games, and um, you know still made some key plays though when we needed it. The fourth down, 4th and 8 throw on the sidelines to Ty's left was unbelievable throw, but they got to figure this second half thing out and just work to finish teams faster when you got them down.
So let's stick with the offense there. And we saw some really good things from Ty Simpson in this game. You mentioned the 4th and 8 throw to Lottie Brooks. I mean, that throw was chef's kiss. That was fantastic. But Ty was hard on himself after the game. After the game, he said he felt like he took too many sacks. He felt like he held on to the ball a little too long. He felt like it was just not a clean game. What'd you make of his performance against Mizzou?
No, I mean, I agree. I was critical of Ty coming out of the Georgia week. Last week's show, I said, listen, I love him being able to extend plays, but I think he's getting in this mindset of trying to extend way too much rather than just take the check down or throw the ball away. Because if you can end the play, even if it's a third down play, if you can end the series where it's not on a sack, it just keeps the momentum. Like there's a level of defeat and pressure that just amplifies when you take a sack for not only the special teams, but now the defense, because the stadium and the momentum inside that stadium, especially when you're playing on the road, just switches to the home team. Right. And so if he can just settle down, I think he's trying to extend and make way too many, unbelievable plays, which that's part of his, you know, um, his ability to that makes him a special player is to have some of that, but just know when to cut your losses. And the other thing, I keep mentioning it, and it seems like it's been since the first game. So what, 6, 7 weeks now, where we're still having play clock issues. I don't understand what's going on. Like, are we getting the play in late to Ty's headset? Or are we waiting too long in the huddle and spitting it out? Or are we too slow going up to the line of scrimmage and not getting set in time? But we have so many plays and we're burning so many timeouts on, the play clock running out, and we're having to burn a timeout, or even Ty on some of them is not recognizing the play clock. It's almost like he forgets, oh, let me look up at the play clock and see where we're at. So I think those are the things. Listen, it's being critical and minute about the situation, but those are the things that keeps you from winning championships. And it seems small, but those things add up, and it ends up being a big issue at a critical point in a game when you don't need it to be. So, but other than that, I listen. He still threw the ball great. Uh, he still made a ton of plays. He's still taking care of the football, and I love that about him. I just want to see him take what the defense gives you a little bit more. Try not to extend so much and take unnecessary sacks. But they also, I mean, that some of those sacks fall on. Listen, the running backs got to be better in protection, and the O-line communication with the running backs, and everybody has to be better. And that also falls on the quarterback, on Ty. So our communication definitely has to be better from a pass pro standpoint, though.
We're going to talk about the Tennessee game in just a minute here, but you talk about pass pro, and Tennessee is a team that can really rush the passer. They get after the quarterback. Jam Miller, of course, suffers the concussion in the Mizzou game. We don't have an update on him quite yet, but if they don't have Jam for this Tennessee game, what can they do to kind of neutralize that pass rush?
Yeah, I mean, uh, you got to be able to have a excellent screen game. I mean, it's the same as you know when we used to play LSU. It's like, all right, we know they got 4 dudes up front on the D line that are going to be high draft picks. They're going to be able to get home at some point and win the one-on-one battles in pass pro, but they are fast, upfield flowing, defensive line. So to be able to extend the screen game and not only just for the running backs but receivers, getting the ball out quick, making the big fellas on the D line, trace their steps and run back to the ball and get them tired from that standpoint. When you're successful in those screens and you're making the big fellas come upfield and then all of a sudden retrace and go back and chase the ball, it wears those big dudes out. And then when late in the game when they're tired and you're having to drop back and throw it, it plays into your favor. So I'd like to see more of a screen game, knowing Jam's going to be out, and when he's out, you lack from a pass pro standpoint. I mean, Kevin Riley's been playing great. I love the kid. I think he's an unbelievable back, but right now he's a little light in the pants to be taking on middle linebackers and some bigger DBs, maybe from a safety standpoint. But communication's just got to be better, and hopefully the screen game is a part of that that can help relieve some of that pressure for the pass pro.
I want to switch over to the defense here for just a minute. And this defense now, over this 5-game win streak, has really had a knack for coming up with big plays at big times, whether it's 4th down stops, whether it's 3rd down stops, forcing turnovers in the red zone. Did that a couple times against Vanderbilt. Where does that come from for a defense? And is it something that you can replicate over the course of a season?
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, I was part of some great defenses where the turnover battle, you knew you were going to win. It was, them just as a defense found a way to create turnovers. That's great. The best thing about this defense right now has been the past 2 second halves. Like, and even if you're giving up points early, but they all the credit to the defensive staff, Kane, and all of those coaches, because the second half they played really well in the Georgia game and Mizzou game. And when you've needed critical stops, you've gotten that. I tell you what, LT Overton has been a freaking madman up front. And if that dude can keep playing the way he's playing, it helps. Just from getting pressure on the quarterback standpoint, I think how many sacks did we get over the weekend? A couple.
I think it was 2 sacks.
Yeah, I thought it was 2 or 3, but that pressure alone just it helps the defense out, because you could see Prabula at the end. Even if we weren't getting to him, the quarterback hurry category was up there because he was rushing those seam throws. He was trying to throw them so early because he was worried about the pass rush, that the receiver's head wasn't even around. That's partly on the receiver and partly on the quarterback Prabula, but it allowed us to be able to get our hands on some footballs and get some interceptions. And hell, I mean, we really should have had 1 or 2 more on top of the 2 he threw us. So I'm super proud of this defense, though, to face Hardy, leading rusher in the SEC, and to hold him to 52 yards is awesome. And I said it on our podcast, I thought if we could make Missouri offense one-dimensional and make them throw the football, it was, you know, high for a success rate on our side, and we did, and I thought that was the difference in the game.
With the win, the Tide moved to 3-0 in conference, and there's a couple of other 3-0 teams. I want to take a look at the top of the SEC here, but what kind of substitute teacher would I be if I didn't come with a game? So we're going to do it with a little game, AJ. It's
Let's do it.
October, it's spooky season, it's Halloween season. So this is SEC Trick or Treat. I'm going to give you a team, and you're going to tell me, are they tricking the country into thinking they're a legit college football playoff contender, or are they providing their fan base with a treat of a season? First team up is the 6-0 Ole Miss Rebels. They have survived some close calls. Kentucky, Arkansas over the weekend, a non-conference game against Washington State. They've had some close calls, but they've survived them all. They've also only gone on the road one time so far this season, so they got a bunch of true road games coming up down the stretch. When I say Ole Miss, do you say trick or treat?
I'm gonna go with trick, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think even if they lose on the road at Georgia and they lose on the road at Oklahoma and they win out after that, I still think they make the playoffs at 10-2.
I would agree. I think so as well, and I think that's certainly doable for them. You just wonder, after last year, the expectations were so high, one of their best teams in years. Can they finish it this season? Another
Yeah.
team that's going to have to finish it is Texas A&M. They're 6-0 as well, 3-0 in the conference. They have that big road win in the non-conference against Notre Dame, but we've seen it so many times with the Aggies. They get out to a hot start, but ultimately end up with 8 or 9 wins. They're another team that's going to have to go on the road a bunch down the stretch here. 3 of their last 6 on the road at Arkansas, or sorry, 4 of their last 6 on the road at Arkansas, at LSU, at Mizzou, and at Texas are all the road games they have left. Trick or treat for A&M.
Oh, man. This defense is really good. I don't know if I'm buying their offense right now. I mean, they're putting up points, but I'll say treat. I mean, I think they're a playoff team. I think their last 2 games are going to be their hardest, or last 2 road games, in Mizzou and Texas, right?
Yeah, they go to Austin at the end of the season. Yep.
Yeah. So, hell, does the Oklahoma win for Texas turn them around and get them going? I mean, you don't know. So, but we'll go with treat for right now.
All right, we got one trick, we got one treat. Let's end it with this, and this will kind of start our preview of that Tennessee game. Tennessee Volunteers, much like Ole Miss, they have just been in close game after close game. Seems like every game they play is an overtime game. Of course, they have the heartbreaker against Georgia, the loss. They beat Mississippi State in OT, and this past weekend, they squeaked by Arkansas. When I say Tennessee, do you say trick or treat?
I'm going to say trick. Even though, listen, I love Josh Heupel. I think Coach Heupel is one of the best coaches in the country. Unbelievable offensive-minded guy. I think he's just brilliant when it comes to the offense. It's too many close games versus teams that I just don't think you should be struggling with. You were up big on one point by 17, I think, on Arkansas, and something like that, and allowed them to come back. Am I wrong on that?
They were up. Yeah, they're up 17 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So I mean, you relaxed a little too much. So I just can't be sold on them. Do I think this weekend will be a close game though? I do. But I think that's partly because of the rivalry side of things and then the brilliance behind Josh Heupel.
So let's get into that game a little bit. And you mentioned it, Tennessee, great offense with Josh Heupel. They're leading the country in scoring at over 48 points per game. And the thing about Heupel's offense that's so unique and makes them so difficult is those wide splits. When you think about Tennessee's offense, can you explain to people what makes them so difficult to defend?
Well, it's just by the wide split. I mean, you said it. It's the fact that you're putting defenders in spots on the field that they're not used to being in. So if you're in base, now all of a sudden you're asking your Sam and Will linebacker to widen out even more, right? Especially if they're not in a condensed split, and they're spreading the field in 11, 12 personnel. Uh, that causes issues because when you put dudes in areas that they're just not familiar with and their body has to move in different ways to where they're not used to moving and covering areas, like it makes it tough. And then not only that, when you do that, 'cause people think Josh Heupel is a pass first guy. He's not. In this offense, they think run first. And the way they do that is by having these wide splits. And then if say you're in nickel or dime, and now you have a nickel out there that is usually tighter in the box, so he's a run support guy, or you're rotating a safety down to be run support. Well, now when you widen the splits for the receivers or tight ends or whoever you have split out, now those defenders have to go because if you don't, and you're throwing the ball, now they have to, as soon as the ball snap, they have to see pass and then expand out even faster. And then they're playing out of control because they're having to get to certain spots on the field and cover, especially in zone. And then it just causes issues. And then if you widen them out too early at the start, well, now you lighten the box. And now there's not enough dudes in the box. So now you have great numbers from a run standpoint on the offensive side. So it I'm telling you, it makes it extremely hard because you will see these outside receivers for Tennessee being a yard and a half from the sideline. Like that, a yard and a half, 2 yards, like that's their normal split. And it's insane to watch. But I mean, they really stretch the defense out and put dudes in areas on the field that they're just not used to, and it makes it tough. It's a different style of offense to um, plan around and to cover, and it can open up holes and find the weakness of a zone defense. Um, pretty easily.
Yeah, you talk about their ability to run the ball last year. They had a great running back in Dylan Sampson. Well, no Dylan Sampson, no problem this year. Deshaun Bishop has just been a big play guy for them. He's going for over 7.6. He's going for 7.6 yards per carry on the year. Against Arkansas, goes off for 146 yards and a touchdown. So you definitely have to watch out for their ability to run the ball, no doubt about it. Maybe the story of the offseason in college football was the transfer of Nico Iamaleava. That's all anybody could talk about for about a month there over the course of this offseason. Well, Josh Heupel goes out. He brings in Joey Aguilar, who was momentarily at UCLA, a little bit of a player swap there. Did the Vols actually upgrade at quarterback with Aguilar? What have you thought of him?
I don't know from a talent standpoint if they upgraded, but I think if there's a winner out of that, Tennessee has shown they won that battle. And listen, Heupel wasn't going to cave to the NIL and the demands after you already agreed to a certain contract. And I know Nico's dad came out and said, "Oh, it wasn't about the money, and it was about the support he had around him and everything." Like, so you're telling me that UCLA has better athletes and better players than Tennessee? Like, come on, let's be real. Um, so I don't buy any of that with Nico's dad talking about that. I think it was all about money. And listen, Nico took a pay cut in the end to go to UCLA. They've won the last 2 weeks, but um, I think Tennessee's the winner of that battle. And to speak on Joey, to get thrown in the way he did, right? And probably going into that situation, not ever thinking that you're going to be the starter. Um, and to earn that right to be the starter and to come out and play well. I feel like he's played well all year, especially for the expectations that he had on him going into it. I thought he's done a great job for him, and he's been successful this year. So hopefully he continues to play well, but don't play well this weekend.
Let's wrap with this, AJ. If there is one thing that Alabama must do to win this game, what is it?
They got to create some turnovers. I think this defense has the D line has got to come to play again when it comes to this run game. You mentioned it a minute ago. Deshaun Bishop, last game against Arkansas, he averaged over 10 yards a carry. They are going to run the football. Even if Tennessee gets down in the game, they're going to run the football. And then if you can stop the run, but your DBs have to play better in man coverage and in zone coverage. Damani Jackson's struggling right now. Maybe we put Lee, the freshman, back there, let him start, who had the big pick at the end, playing in the soft zone. But we got to find a way to create turnovers from a secondary standpoint. Continue to do that because Tennessee has some dudes out wide. That can go get the football and make plays. Chris, how do you say his last name?
Brazel.
And then you got Staley, Matthew. You got dudes that, hell, even at this last game, 109, 56, 46, and then Brazel didn't even do anything. And so you can see that they have dudes across the board that can put up numbers and make plays. So I think that's the biggest thing. The other key for me from an offensive side, not to kind of bounce all over the place, but speaking on it for our offense, we got to be able to protect. And I'm really interested to see, one, we've been running the ball a lot better the last 2 weeks. And the O-line has really imposed their will on the defensive line. That was Mizzou's, number one thing was how good they were with a rush defense. And I felt like downhill runs, we were successful. And with Jam getting knocked out, it worries me, not only from so much from a running the ball standpoint and our rush game, like it's the pass pro that really has me concerned because I'm telling you, when you saw him go out, you saw a massive difference. That second half looked a lot like the first half of the Florida State game where it was like, oh man. And when you play the quarterback spot and you start to get sacked and hit on every play, the time clock in your head goes a lot faster than what you think. And so all of a sudden you think you're about to get hit and you rush a throw or you put a ball in the spot where you wanted to hold on to it for a second longer, but you're thinking you're about to get hit because you've been getting hit all game. And then you start to feel ghost and kind of see ghost a little bit. And you're playing at a much faster pace than what you actually need to be. And so that's a big key for me is, can we figure out this O-line issue on the right side? And can our running backs sustain blocks in pass pro? I think those are going to be, big keys for us as a team.
There you go. Those are AJ's keys to the game. I hope everybody out there is able to enjoy a nice Cuban cigar after a win over the weekend. AJ, in the locker room, cool tradition. Did you like that? Did you partake?
Oh, loved it. And it's on the quarterback. You always bought the cigars. And listen, I was 5-0 against Tennessee, so I got to smoke a cigar every year. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you're playing there at Neyland Stadium or Bryant-Denny, a Tennessee victory is always great. And we always say light them up. So hopefully we get this big win and light them up after the game.
Yeah, hopefully everybody is able to light them up on Saturday. One of the coolest traditions in all of sports. That's going to do it for us. AJ, it was a blast. But don't go anywhere, because on the other side, Chris and Trent are back. They're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly from the win over Mizzou. Plus, they'll dive deeper into Saturday's showdown with Tennessee, and Trent has a Rocky Block story you won't want to miss. It's The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Support for The Dynasty comes from Google. Every August, we talk about new rule changes coming to college football, but now that we're in the middle of the season, hard to follow the real impact those rules are having on the games, like the big one being the crackdown on fake injuries. And we saw that be a big part of conversation during the offseason for the last few years. Trying to get that out of the way is a big part of the conversation. But with AI mode in Google search, you can just type in, how have this year's college football rule changes impacted the season so far? And AI mode will put together the key details and give you a summarized AI-powered response. It's perfect for those big, nuanced questions that don't have one simple answer.
It doesn't end there. Let's say you want to keep digging deeper. With AI mode, you don't have to start a new search. You can ask direct follow-ups to learn more about specifics or explore related ideas.
So whether you're wondering about a complex scheme, a new rule, or how the transfer portal works, with AI mode, you can just ask Google.
Welcome back to our final segment this week on the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Don't forget, podcasts dropping each week, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, online, thedynastybama.com, across social media. Find us at the Dynasty Bama. Hope you'll rate and review. Most importantly, listen all the way through. Tell us what you think about the show. Let's go back to something that was a staple for you guys. Trent, tell us the origin first of the good, the bad, the ugly with Coach Saban. Because as I remember, it was a deal where you guys would come in after the game the previous weekend. I don't know if it was Sunday or Monday, but Sunday. It was the good, the bad, and the ugly, and take it from there.
Yeah, so the good, bad, and ugly for Coach Saban was done on Sundays. We're coming in for meetings and come in and get our workout in and then get our strides in and stuff and get our little run in. But that meeting with the good, bad, and ugly was quiet as a mouse.
Uh-huh.
Because you did not want to end up on that film for the bad and ugly.
Uh-huh.
Only for the good, right?
Correct.
And then if you end up on that film, you'll kind of replay it a couple times and say, look at this guy here. What the hell, man? What are we doing?
Did you ever wind up on the bad or the ugly?
I can't recall. I really can't. I can't recall. I think I might have had my first week. The first game, my freshman year at Virginia Tech. And it was one of those plays where I got set up on it being a young pup, not knowing. So Chris Rogers
remember Chris?
Baited me in to run full speed down on kickoff, and young pup, let's race. Man, you can't beat me. I'm a 10-3-1 guy, out of Florida running track. You can't, you ain't playing, you ain't running like that. So I beat everybody down there. I get down there, get shook, and guess who cleans them up and make a fumble? Chris Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
He's the man on all the commercials now. He's dancing everywhere. And it's funny because the next time I went down, I broke down and made a tackle. Then Coach Saban asked me, was I ready to go in and run the ball? And that was the first time I actually got to touch the ball. And it might have been 2 or 3 times in Virginia Tech game, but I feel like I played the whole game.
Right.
But I learned from that to not to be listening to the vet to boost my head up so that he can go be the guy.
Right.
And me get shook on national TV.
Uh-huh.
I ain't made the tackle in 5 years, y'all.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things, man. You definitely don't want to be on the bad and ugly, but it's definitely something to learn from. And, the immunity, the humility in it, and being around your peers and your teammates and stuff is it's one of those things to where like you don't want to be on that film again, and you want to make sure that you're not. So for me, man, I got the good, bad, and ugly. I got good, clutch plays that we made, especially with Ty throwing the ball on fourth down. Got 2 big fourth down completions, one on for a touchdown, one on for a 29-yard gain. And the Alabama defense came up with some big stops, especially at the end, to seal the game. When you get to the bad, I would have to say that we still need to work on our run game because Missouri offense still outran our offense and about 38 yards, I think. And we know that Missouri is going to be able to run the ball. That's what they've been known for. And we, to me, we did a tremendous job on them with,
no doubt,
being able to, contain the best running back, far stat-wise in the nation to 52 yards, to 52, 56 yards.
Yeah.
That's big, especially when you know that the offense is evolved around him. And so, being able to do that, being able to, make them stops is big. On the ugly side of it, I had to deal with the injuries. Jam, my guy Meadows. Those are 2 big injuries, man. You don't want to see it. And you don't want to see
scary.
Yeah,
they're scary.
They're scary, man. Listen, we know how these injuries that they can linger, especially when you're talking about concussions and stuff like that. We all know how bad that can be, so we're praying for those kids. And for me, man, we cannot turn the ball over. And we know it was early in the game, but Ty came back and fought back, and that was the good part about it. But the ugly part was the turnover. We cannot do that.
Right. So good, bad, and the ugly, we'll talk about those each week on the show, as we do our Wonder Fan must-watch game of the week. It's week 8, and it is brought to you by Wonder Fan, the app that pays you to be a fan. The Wonder Fan app, for those of you who don't know, absolutely free to use. You can earn rewards for doing things that you already love doing, like attending games, watching live sporting events on TV, and now watching this podcast, The Dynasty, on YouTube. You can get paid to actually watch us. So you'll earn 50 Wonder, as it's called, by submitting a screenshot in the Wonder Fan app as you watch our podcast on your connected TV or any second screen, just as you do when watching live sports. It's really that easy to do. Tide's coming home this weekend hosting Tennessee. Want to remind you that anyone using Wonder Fans Attend to Earn feature at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium is going to earn double points all season long. As always, you earn those double points when you use Wonder Fans Watch to Earn feature for any of our must-watch games of the week. All right, Trent, what do you got your eye on this week for Wonder Fan?
For me, man, I'm definitely going to watch the Georgia and Ole Miss game. I think it's going to be big, man, especially when you got, 2 battles of the Nick prodigies. To me, that's what I say, right? You got the offensive mind, you got the defensive mind, and people don't realize, man, those guys are like best friends too, Kirby and Lane. And I mean, they get at it too, man. I can remember coming back and watching those guys just go at it, and try to pick each other, try to pick each other off, try to get the best of who. And they would be battling in the summer when I would come back and visit. But to see those guys, as they dominating with their coaching career, through the SEC, man, to see, to me, I think when you're talking about skill set wise, I think as far as offense, Ole Miss got an exciting offense, and their quarterbacks are playing lights out right now. Defensive wise, they're struggling, but it can be better. And I think for me, to see that defense battle with Ole Miss and Georgia, to see who's going to have the better defense to stop the quarterback, it's going to be a great iron match. To me, it's going to be one of those matches that you got to watch, and it's a must-see game. So this is my game to pick for the weekend.
All right, Ole Miss at Georgia for you. I agree with you, but also LSU at Vandy, I think, is huge. I know that it's tough to even wrap our minds around, but Vandy wins this game. They're in a pretty good spot of at least still being very much in the picture to be one of the teams in the SEC championship game. I know Steve Gorgei, our producer, is very much a believer that the Commodores can get this done. And look, I think they'll beat LSU. I really do. LSU's having to totally focus or refocus themselves, and I think this is an incredibly dangerous game for them. Vandy's that good, and you go to Nashville, it's a different city from most of them in the SEC. It's easy to actually kind of get a little distracted. You go there, and Vanderbilt's good enough to beat you if you're not ready. They're good enough to beat you if you are ready this year. But how do they handle coming off the adversity of a loss to Bama? That's going to be interesting to watch. So I am curious. LSU at Vandy. And you get double points, by the way, when you use Wonder Fans Watch to Earn feature for any of our must-watch games of the week, Ole Miss and Georgia for Trent, LSU Vandy for me, and, of course, the Alabama-Tennessee matchup as well. And if you are coming to Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, cheering on the Tide, you can earn those double points with Wonder Fans Attend to Earn feature. Start getting paid to be a fan. Visit wonderfan.com or search for Wonder Fan in the Apple or Android App Store to download the app Wonder Fan, where it pays to be a fan. All right, Trent, third Saturday in October is dead ahead. Bama, an 8.5-point favorite to open the week against Tennessee. Got to go back to your memories first of this game and playing in it before we move ahead. I think some forget when we talk about the Rocky block, the Terrence Cody block that I still say Julio would have blocked if Terrence didn't at the end of the game, but 2 block kicks by Terrence in that game. Forget, oh, by the way, that was the Lane Kiffin year.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been, I say doubly tough. That would have been triple. You lose at that, even at that time, to Tennessee to begin with, and have that streak come to a close. But with Lane as the guy on the other sideline, whew, my goodness. But it didn't happen, thanks to Terrence and your teammates.
Yeah, it's so crazy because that year, right, was especially for me and AJ, because that's the year that, because we was all getting recruited, in the Gulf Coast. That's in our area, like the Julios, the BJ Scotts, the DJ Flukers, the AJ, the Mark Barons, the Mees, everybody from that area, and from the 850, the 251, or
they were all working on you guys.
Yeah. Well, Lance Thompson was. And Lane took Lance Thompson from Bama when he went to Tennessee.
Top recruiter, or one of the top recruiters
best recruiter
at that time.
Ever.
Right.
Ever.
For those that have forgot.
Did you just hear those names I just brought up?
Absolutely.
Ever.
Absolutely. Yep.
And this guy he can sell water to a well.
Mm-hmm.
But he took him, and so everybody kind of thought me and AJ was going to go to Tennessee or take a trip down there. They did not want us to take a trip down there. They did not want us to go down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I never went. I don't know if AJ went. I ain't gonna, I don't know about that. I never went. But it was big because the recruiting. I know you done heard the stories about, they going to the wrong house and AJ down the street, somebody looking in his window. It's all type of stories like that leads into this. And to the fact that Coach Saban was like beefing with Lane at the time. Because, hey, now you talking to my recruits and all this other stuff.
Right.
And we, got my coach, got my best recruiter. Like, hey, man, I'm trying to spare you, man. What else you want me to do, man?
Right.
But, man,
it was crazy time.
Game, like, Terrence kept telling me, like, I'm finna block this. I'm finna block this. I'm about to block this. And I'm looking at him like, he ain't talking to himself. He getting his mind right. He kept saying, I'm finna block this. I'm finna block this. I'm finna block this. So he goes out there, blocks the doggone field goal for the second time. And it's funny because, everybody, you look at the picture, look like Julio would have blocked it too.
Right.
But you never know when you're kicking the ball because,
Sure.
And so as And this whole time in this game, I'm sitting there thinking like, man, yeah, we finna win. But it never dawned on me until that moment, like, damn, we might lose.
Right. It
Like
was
that
sick.
whole year, like
It
it was like,
sick.
man, we really might lose. And at that time, it wasn't a playoff system. It was a
Nope.
even given Saturday, you could
Mhm.
not be in a national championship. And so for me, it was just like, bro, like, come on, man. And when he blocked it, like you could see Cody running, and he's running over there towards me, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh no, this big fella ain't for the nah.
I ain't catching
And so
you.
I kind of olay him and go to the next guy.
That's a good move.
But what's even funny about this story, that the guy that he blocked the 2 field goals, it was the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the league with me when I was with the Browns. So
Wow.
they tell the story about that meeting the next day. They say they kicked him out. Lane kicked him out the room. He kicked him off the team. So we in this meeting, and so Monterio Hardesty is my running back. And he played at Tennessee. He was there at the time when that happened.
Remember.
And he was talking about, Monterio had a great game, a good game against us, but he was talking about how Lane dog cussed him out and kicked him out the room and told him, said, look at this. And he just kept replaying. He was on that good, bad, and ugly film.
Yeah.
Right? He kept replaying it, bro, and they rolled him. He kicked him out the meeting. He thought his career was over with, but obviously it wasn't. He ended up playing in the league for a while. And it's one of those things where, like, it's always going to be on him, no matter what.
Sure. Let's talk about this matchup. Tennessee's leading the country in sacks per game, 4 different D linemen with at least 3. How do you neutralize a pass rush like that?
I think for them, they gotta be able to. The running backs gotta be able to chip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
which is, again, you miss Jam.
Yeah,
you're missing
that,
a great
right?
blocker in addition to what he does carrying the football.
Yeah, and you see different stuff that Jam do without the football, and that's what makes him special, right? And that's what makes him a vet, because he gets it. He's been around for a minute. He understands the concepts of the plays. He understands, Alabama football as it is right now. And for me, I think the offensive linemen, they're going to have to make sure that they communicate. They're going to have to make sure that they put them jumper cables on them guys early in the game, and just let them know, like, hey, y'all going to have to do this all 4 quarters. This is going to be a long day for y'all. And I say this too, man. If we can impose our will, and I'm preach this every week, and we can move them backwards and run the ball, that lightens up everything for Ty. That lightens up everything for Bernard and my guys on the end. Like, it helps the throwing game out so much, and the throwing game is going to help out the running game.
Sure.
So,
speaking of the passing game, Tennessee's led by Chris Brazzell at wideout, 7 touchdowns this year. Catching the football, that leads the SEC in that category. Second in the league in yards per game at about 90 per contest. Averages 17 yards per catch. Big plays have burned us sometimes. And if they try to get ISO'd with Damani Jackson, who has had his struggles at times, that could be a really tough matchup.
Yeah, it's been real tough on Damani lately. And for me, if I was team, I would go at him. And why would you, shy away from that? He haven't showed that he can, one-on-one coverage right now. He hasn't been the best. And he can definitely get better, and he know that. And
Sure,
and it's one of those things to where it's like, man, we're not talking
and you're on
about
an island. I get that.
Yeah, you on an
It's
island.
tough.
But we've all heard of Reeves Island. To me, I mean, Kurt used to have his own. Like Jerry Kirkpatrick used to have his own island. Kirkpatrick Island. You get out there on Kurt Island you want to, he's gonna write you a ticket real quick. And that's what we used to call it. Like he got to create something in his mind to where, like, he tricks himself out to where, like, hey, this is my era. This is my island. Like, this is what I do. Like, I don't know, man. Like me, like I used to think crazy out on the football field. So man, I was protecting, my left and right and my Q's and P's all the time. So if this cat can do the same thing and just prove, man, to yourself, you ain't got to prove to everybody. Prove to yourself that you're that guy and go out there and, be able to one-on-one coverage and be able to cause turnovers and be a big difference. And that's another thing I think we got to get better at, man, is creating more sacks, putting more pressure on the quarterback with the first 4 or the first
Right.
3. I think we're good enough that we don't have to send all these blitzes.
Last thing, just give me something maybe we hadn't covered that you think is vitally important for Alabama to do, or an area they need to win if they're going to get another victory and continue the trajectory they've been on.
For me, man, we got to keep on, of course, controlling the offensive line. We definitely got to keep creating turnovers. I think special team is going to be big this week because I think we all know how big special team can be, especially in a game with playing against Tennessee.
Yeah.
I've been in that game before. I know how surreal it can be, with that, with the media around, right? Like, cause listen, it's different. And listen, I thought hate Auburn week was a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
But hate Tennessee week,
mm-hmm.
that throw up orange.
It's real.
Oh man,
mm-hmm.
It's real now. Like, and I didn't know how real it was till I got to campus and seeing when we was in the locker room. I seen Greg out here passing around these these Cubans, and I didn't know what was going.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, y'all tripping? Like, y'all in the locker room with this and Coach Saban right here. The next thing
Better
I
hand
know,
coach one.
I see Coach with one, and this is what we doing.
Yeah, that's what you do. Because if you don't, they're lighting them over there, and they're singing a song that we ain't gonna like.
Yeah.
So you know that one. So it is huge. It is special. It's one of the things that makes college football great, and we're all fortunate. Dislike aside, we're all fortunate we get a chance to be involved in any level at any spot in this game. You most importantly played in it, like AJ. Won it, thank goodness, which makes it a lot easier and better for guys like me who ain't playing, but talk about it and broadcast it. And special Saturday upcoming when Alabama plays host to Tennessee, and we'll recap it next week here on the Dynasty. Look forward to talking about that and looking ahead to South Carolina, but it'll be a whole lot more fun to do so if the Tide can take care of business. Again, the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, is something that is available on all your different platforms, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. TheDynastyBama.com is a hub where you can check us out. Also, at The Dynasty Bama is where you can link with us on social media, and we hope you'll do so. For AJ, we all look forward to being back in the same studio at the same time next week. But for AJ, for our producer, Steve Gorgei, for Trent Richardson, I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks for joining us. Roll Tide. We'll see you next time, everybody.